Puppet TV.
My name is Ninon Noiret. I'm a contemporary dancer and acrobat on the floor in Chinese pole. I'm also a stunt trainee working for the stunt register. I'm French, from Brittany, and I live in Glasgow. At the moment, I'm reworking a solo show called The Raft of the Crab. The idea behind this show was to be able to talk about my personal experience that I had with cancer, my treatment, and how I kept on training through it. I developed this show while I was hooked up to the chemotherapy tubes in hospital. I rehearsed whenever I was feeling well enough. I had been selected to perform something as part of the Braga Festival in Glasgow, and I decided to perform this little piece. It was only 13 minutes long, but the day before I was so anxious. I was so close to cancelling it. I didn't think I was ready, but I did it anyway. And I was proud, like really fucking proud actually. Even now I'm like, how the fuck did I do that in the middle of chemo? After the show, people who would know nothing about cancer came up to tell me that now they understand better what happened to people they knew who had cancer. And some people were shocked also that I managed to laugh about it. No, that's not that. That's absolutely not that. No, it's not. So now I want to create a longer piece because the story has evolved and I want to create it from a different perspective. I'm interested to see how it can be linked to another story that has nothing to do with cancer and that is at the end also a story about survival.
Symptoms: really painful, crisis in the right knee. During that, can't dance, can't do acrobatics, can't walk properly. Otherwise, feels perfectly fine. Diagnosis: B-cell non-Hodgkin lymphoma.
I read the terrible story of the Raft of the Medusa, the story of the shipwreck in 1816, where many people died trying to hold on to a quickly made wooden raft. There was murder and cannibalism, only 15 survived. It was horrible, but what I saw were some dramatic links. I want to create this show like a Nordic saga that could interest everyone. 146 men and 1 woman boarded this unstable raft. The raft was supposed to be towed by the lifeboats, but the people on those lifeboats cut the ropes attached to the raft to save their own lives and left. The woman... I still want to talk about my sickness, but I need the distance. Like, my treatment ended almost 2 years ago and I'm not the same person as I was back then. There is no way I'm going to put back on my hospital gown and shave my head again for this new version, like no way. So realizing that there was a different me back then, I decided to create a sort of mini-me, a puppet version of myself that would be like weak and small and very fragile. Last year, I commissioned Gavin Glover to construct a mini-me puppet. And this year I went to his nasty puppetry workshop during the Manipulate Festival in Edinburgh. I took mini-me along and I immediately saw so many possibilities watching and playing with the other people there. I also did a dance duet with a bigger, more life-sized puppet called Max. And I found it absolutely amazing to have that kind of a partner on stage. And within a few hours I knew that I needed a big me, a life-sized puppet version of myself for the show that would represent me before the cancer.
So the puppeteer's job is to keep the puppet alive. And we do this by reacting, thinking, being aware, and that way the puppet can tell its story. and the focus is mostly on the puppet rather than the actor. However, a performer like Ninon, for example, has a problem if she wants to go up her pole and leave the puppet. What does she do? Well, traditionally we'd probably go to sleep, find a nice little comfortable place, or might actually leave the stage completely, giving the impression that the puppet is still alive. Or, what I can do is basically just stop performing the puppet. But wait, I've just ruined that beautiful thing that I've had. But by essentially letting the puppet die like this, the audience sees a whole new relationship between the actor and this puppet object. Was it really alive in the first place?
Okay, come on. Tell me about your weekend, But I'm not a puppeteer, so I was worried. But Gavin teaches this contemporary puppetry which he calls nasty puppetry, where you don't have to worry about the puppet being alive all the time. And it can be shit and...
So that's different. So that, for example, if you...
I like that. It makes me feel more free to use the puppets as I like and for them to represent whatever I want them to represent. Yeah.
I don't want to play this game anymore, because then you're saying...
And these puppets were becoming the survivors on the raft. At the moment, I'm trying to work out the problems of the dead weight, how to leave them or drop them, how to carry them up and down the pole, and when to make them alive or not. It's really interesting. They have a real presence, a bit like an animal on stage, and often better than some actors I've known. It was weird at first to go back to the show after 2 years, but I really wanted to do it, and this idea of using puppets was really driving me, and now I feel like the story is bigger than me, and that the show is going to be speaking to more people, hopefully. On étire, hop. Ok, t'es prête maintenant, t'es prête? Parce que voilà, là maintenant t'es parti. T'es censé être beaucoup plus en forme maintenant, t'as eu un massage, t'as eu des étirements, on est bon, ok? Ok, c'est parti. T'es prête? On saute, on fait un plus grand saut, tu vas en mode, tu touches le plafond. C'est parti? The show is about survival. It's not about cancer. It's not a therapy. I mean, the creation of it while I was in chemo might have been a little bit of it, but not that much. It was mostly fuel that kept me doing what I'm used to doing and giving me a goal greater than just keep training to be less sick. It's more about letting people see that there are many ways through every challenge. If I love the puppets now, I've always loved the puppets. They're great. They're just really scary. Like they do freak me out a little bit. Like they've got those faces with their eyes, and I don't know what Gavin took, like drugs, before creating them, because they're really freaking me out sometimes. But I love them. It's like the perfect partners to go on tour with. Like they don't eat. I don't have to pay them. That's good. No, it's gonna be great. I love them.
Puppet TV.
Puppet TV.
Puppet TV.
Puppet TV. Puppet TV.